Good morning, my peeps. This is Jason, zombie collector extraordinaire, and I had a question for you. So this is be a fun one, little show and tell, maybe more tell than show. But it's one of those ones I think kind of get to know each other a little bit better. And so I wanted to kind of do something that'd be fun. It doesn't always have to be controversial here on Zombie Collector's channel. I know how to have a good time. I know how to cut up a bit. So my question today is that for both music and movies, what is your guilty pleasure? So, for me, for music, it's 90s pop music. Now, I grew up mostly in the 80s and 90s. And I listen to a lot of stuff that would probably be not radio friendly for the most part. But, you really can't get away from it from the 90s. So, like, all that Britney Spears and Backstreet Boys and all that stuff, I kind of actually like it. A lot of that ridiculous, like, kind of pop, hip-hop, like, Mace and Puff Daddy and all that Misdemeanor Elliott and all them guys that were like real radio friendly, that were, kind of breaking out, like exploding. I kind of liked all that stuff. I mean, I never would have admitted to it back in school, my school days, because I was mostly in a punk rock and hardcore straight edge, which I still am. And I like a lot of more of the underground industrial music and all that growing up. And then I loved 80s pop music and 80s rock in general. But that was a time frame that I never really talked a lot about, but I really dug. I like 90s hip-hop, which I think a lot of people can say that without feeling guilty or bad or feel like they're going to lose their cred card. But 90s pop music, which is just god-awful, and I'm very aware how awful it is, I kind of a fan of. So that's kind of my guilty pleasure, my like behind the closed door. And for movies, I don't mind a romantic comedy, and there's been a few times, if I do say so myself, that I'll watch a romantic comedy minus a female in the room, and it doesn't happen all that often, and all that, but I do not really have a problem if it's a comedy. Then I'm all for it. If it's like a drama type thing, I'm not really a big fan of that. That might have some sort of love story entwined in it. But if it's like a romantic comedy, I can get into it. Like Fever Pitch is a good example. It's kind of heavy on the romance as well as the baseball, but it's definitely a romantic comedy, and I love that movie. I could watch that by myself. There's a few other movies now that I'm on the camera talking, I'm kind of like drawing a blank. But Sweet Home Alabama, I like that one. That's definitely a kind of a chick flick romantic comedy. Trying to think of a few more, but you kind of get the picture. If it has a comedic elements to it, I could totally get on board with Harry Met Sally. That's another one I really like. So there's a handful of them out there. But We're Just Friends with Justin Timberlake. I like that one. I think something called like that. But yeah, movies like that I find to be entertaining and humorous. I'll get on board with those as well. So those are some of my guilty pleasures, if you will. So let me know what you think. Do you all have a guilty pleasure? We all do. It's not that if you do, it's what is it? So give me some examples, if you can, of your guilty pleasures. And until next time, peace.